Alright folks, the TS6, Tier 9 Premium-ish of American Heavy. It can make the bonds, but not the credits. So likely placeholder for now, and Wargaming will change it in the future, but massive turret on a rounded hull front. If you squint, kinda looks like a AE Phase 1 on American Diet. Becomes large, and in charge, and bulbous. This turret is massive. It also carries a 120mm that packs the most punch now out of all the 120s. 460 alpha compared to usually 400 alpha or 450 at best on the T-54 heavy, but it has a rounded hull front with elements of the Yo tanks, like the M3 Yo without the cleft between the turret ring and the driver hatch, but engine deck is elevated, exposed, don't side scrape, they just shoot at the engine deck, ignoring the tracks or the toolbox as possible space armor. So it's mostly about hull front and hull down positions, so hiding the cupola on top when you're gun depressed, but it packs the punch even more so than the T-54 heavy now. The spotlight does kinda look like a collision model, but it should not be there, otherwise two weak spots on the turret. So M1 cupola is the biggest downside to the T-54 heavy, I believe. But yeah, this thing is not as fast. It trades some of the mobility for a more alpha packing of a 120mm. So elevated engine deck. The turret is massive. Look at the size profile from the side. Compare this to the AE Phase 1, about the same, but without the streamlines or edges, it becomes fat. Obese of an AE Phase 1. And elements of a Yo tank, rounded hull front, massive turret. The M7 Yo is practically all turret. Practically. So, obese AE Phase 1, if you will. That's a nickname for it. From me at least, but we already have lots of Tier 9 American Heavy tanks, some good ones. AE Phase 1, Concept 1B, the upcoming M103M, possible for collaboration of some sort, but another one I guess. T-54 Heavy is okay, it's like a slightly better M48A2 pattern with the T-54 E2's turret. It's practically that vehicle, but slightly better with more alpha, just not as fast. They're both slow. I guess it's okay. You have to replenish all the reserves of Tier 9 premiums and Tier 8 premiums for the upcoming year. We're still missing a few, like Lada Stridsforden, but those are ancient, I guess. So ancient vehicles. But 460 alpha gun for the 120mm packs the punch. AP round is okay in shell velocity, and APCR does fly a little bit faster with a little bit better pin, but it's scary to imagine a 120mm packing the same punch as a 128 or 130 almost, but reload time is okay for that alpha damage, I guess. It is the same caliber, but of a 120 on an M103, but somehow it takes longer to load. Possibly more primer or more propellant, I don't know, but aim time, accuracy, balanced out for the alpha damage, I presume, but 10 degrees of gun depression, 15 elevation, 40 rounds, not half bad. You're not having the problem as with the 130s on some Russian vehicles. They can only carry like 130mm about 30 rounds or so, so don't spam too much, but not that big of a problem with the ammo issue. 12.5 horsepower per ton and 32 kilometers per hour top speed. Hull traverse 26. It does not have the quad tracks, so single track or double track, whatever, traditional. It's not fast. Definitely not as fast as even with the T-54 heavy. So kinda sluggish. 1800 health, 250 turret front, and 150 hull front. Hull front might be decent, but you want a little bit better side armor. You're not supposed to be side scraping, especially with the engine deck, but side armor is only 76. So that's like 3 inches or 2.5 with the armor. Nah, don't side scrape. Always go haul down on a hill. And view range could be better. 380. At least 390 or so, right? But that is shaky. So this is a very much close range. I would say more of a assault heavy tank than versatile, right? It's more like a 𝗧-𝗦 in terms of speed. It's not the fast, or STI. It's not the fastest. Definitely not the fastest. But DPM 2117. For that alpha, okay, fine. 0.37 accuracy, 2.6 seconds of aim time. As expected for the alpha, it is now the best alpha out of a 120. So originally, they were very strict on the alpha damage. 120mm gun will always do 400 alpha. Then they switch it around to like 450 alpha, 420 alpha, somewhere along the lines. But now it's the best punching 120mm out there. But you're paying for it with the DPM, somewhat. It is tier 9, it's not tier 10. So it does surprise a few people when you're thinking about, ooh, American tanks dealing the same alpha damage as a German or Russian tank. So German 128 or Russian 130. But could use a little bit more health, like 100 or 200 more health. Top speed, horsepower per ton ratio, kind of shaky. Does weigh 56 tons. Okay. Engine power is only 700, so needs more horses under the bonnet, as they would call it. But 7% camo, so not the worst. And view range could be better. It is kind of massive. I mean, in the 1950s, range of research development for the tanks, TS6 project, one of those in June 1954. I'm surprised they have English description in a Russian-backed client, right? It's in Russian, but whatever. Yeah, it's pretty massive. Very massive turret. It's practically all turret. Get shot by artillery on a hill, practically. Wait, shell velocity is faster. And it's heat round. I thought they put APCR. No, what? Come on, guys, proofread. Did you just copy and paste? They copy and paste from the IMT we covered yesterday. Also, shell velocity is different, right? It's not. It's standard shell velocity is 1,150 for the AP and about 900 for high explosive anti-tank. Yep, or so. All right, I guess they mixed up. Just copy and paste. I do it sometimes. Did not proofread, but yeah, the highest alpha out of a 120. It's heat round too. See, it's a premium-ish of a heavy tank. It does not make the credits. It can make the bonds, but not the credits for some reason. Huh. Single track or standard tracks. Compare with the 𝗧-𝗦. Interesting. The same alpha punch. Alright. You have a little bit more pin, but reloads slower. Faster traverse for the turret, even though it's massive. Same accuracy, takes a little bit longer to aim. Slightly less DPM, same health. This thing is not as fast as a 𝗧-𝗦. No way. 150 hull front compared to 135. Not a strong turret front, but it's a bigger turret. Yeah, horsepower per ton ratio is not as good. Top speed is not as good as the 𝗧-𝗦. 77 is a breakthrough tank, right? Classified as breakthrough. Better camo, surprisingly. Not as good view range. Radio is standard. Anything above 700 is okay. Above 600 is okay. Huh. Better camo while moving, even though the turret is massive. This thing is weird. I mean, if you like the T-54 heavy, the T-54 Proto heavy, not the T-54 E2, it's practically almost the same vehicle, just a little bit more alpha at the cost of speed, right? So if you take a look at your T-54 heavy, this thing is bulbous in the M1 cupola, so that's the main weak spot. It's like with the playing of the Renegade, except you're slower, much slower, and not as nimble. So yeah, gun performance seems about the same. This thing has 12 degrees gun depression, I forgot. But aim time, accuracy about the same, right? Kinda long for a 120, but you're paying for it because you have better alpha and gun depression. So yeah, mobility on this vehicle without turbocharger is not the craziest. 14.26 horsepower per ton and 34 kilometers per hour top speed. It has less health by 100, but on paper armor front is better, on the hull at least, but it's still kind of crap for side armor. Concealment 3%. It has massive of a turret on the TS6. Why does it have like twice the camouflage value? The cupola? I don't know. And view range, I have the field mods and vents, but yeah, for the TS6, I would think you're not side scraping, so I kind of rules out the suspension thing because improved hardening will repair all the track health, but you're only getting shot at the engine deck if they're good enough. So I don't think improved hardening is worth it on this vehicle. I think you should go with vents to help out with the accuracy, the aim time, all the junk with a large caliber gun, the rammer, and possibly vertical stabilizer. Yeah, dispersion while moving for these vehicles are not great, so it's practically another T-54 heavy tank, just bigger, with more punch of the gun, but not as fast to rev by 2 horsepower per ton ratio, and kinda blindish. Well, not really blind, but not exactly 400 meters of view range, right? Or 390, but it's a close range fighting vehicle, and you don't side scrape with it. You should not side scrape with it. So yeah, rammer, vertical stabilizer, vents, possibly turbocharger to give it a little bit boost, a little bit more boost of the speed. But I would say improved hardening is out the window. Not really good for improved hardening. American heavy tanks are more like medium tanks, fat medium tanks. You don't really side scrape with them. Not really. That's why I have vents for most of them. But if you're playing something of a Russian heavy tank with good side armor, or German heavy tank with side armor, then obviously improved hardening helps out with the track health, so you can not get D-track all the time and actually side scrape. But it depends on your playstyle. So improved hardening for massive super heavies. Even for the 𝗧-𝗦, when you think about it, it doesn't have the space armor. It's imaginary. It's not even there. So I would still say vents and vertical stabilizer and rammer. But it is versatile, so let's take a look at field mods for Tier 9. Better track health or terrain resistance. You're not supposed to be side scraping, so hull down will not expose your tracks. I would say get better speed out of it. Better effective top speed and traverse with better terrain resistance. Choose the first one. Accuracy or aim time. Both are kind of mediocre, but if you already have long enough time to aim, go with better accuracy. Yeah, better accuracy. 0.37 is not great. Make it to like 0.35 or something, right? You could afford a little bit more of an aim time. Slightly. Give it better accuracy. View range or stun duration. View range. Sometimes there are no artillery to play against. You wish for that, so otherwise hide behind cover or something, but go with better view range. This is situational. This is effective all the time. Go with something that's constant, effective all the time. Better view range. And finally, reverse speed or aim speed. Or traverse speed, not even aim speed. Fudge it, you don't need to be you don't need to be side scraped, or you don't need to get circle strafed all the time. Don't worry about circle strafing, just go pull back a little bit faster when you're doing gopher tactics, poking up, shooting, and poking back down with the reverse speed. I would say better reverse speed. Turret traverse on the M103 is not fast, but then again, it's a heavy tank. I would say go better reverse speed. But yeah, 33. It's better to turn the turret about. Yeah, better reverse speed. Make your playing gopher tactics a little bit better and easier on you. Hiding the cupola, we go about. while you're going hull down. Yeah, better reverse speed. Overall, it's another T-54 Heavy. I mean, granted, the T-54 Heavy is better. It at least packs more punch with 12 degrees of gun depression in comparison to the M48A2 with the T-54E2's turret, the patented tank thing. So that thing doesn't have anything in particularly good. So it's a medium, even though they have a weird classification thing. So it is like this practically. This is the E2 turret on the T-54. The T-54 Heavy is technically the proto turret or the main turret. It's like E0 turret. But this thing doesn't have the hull armor, doesn't have the turret armor, doesn't have the speed. Well, it feels sluggish for me for some reason, but the gun also doesn't really pack the scary punch, even though 50 alpha is negligible, I guess. So DPM is about the same. Surprisingly, I have a better time with this thing than the patent for some reason, but this is basically the patent chassis with a large turret, with a different turret, but I don't know. Do you want a premium version of this thing with a slightly smaller turret? Or cupola at least, but at the cost of some of the mobility, right? Some of the engine power. It's a little bit more health, but not as good gun depression though. Or gun elevation too. I think it's okay. I mean, you're filling the spot of more tier 9 premiums into the game, but it's not exactly a premium now for the current moment. It's like a 5. I mean, it feels fair, right? There's nothing too crazy. The biggest trademark is the highest alpha damage for a 120, and that's it. It does traverse for the turret quickly, so you can wiggle about, throw off the shots, but side armor, crap. Hull armor is debatable, right? It is sloped, it is rounded. If it's 150 on the upper plate, not half bad. But otherwise, cupola is the main weak spot. Accuracy, aim time, mediocre. View range, mediocre. 5, I would say. 5 out of 10. It's about the alpha damage. It's definitely about the alpha damage. Otherwise, you're not playing the vehicle. It is, if it's a premium, then it could make the credits or so, similar to this vehicle. This is a premium. Yep, without the premium tag, credit making tag, it only has the bomb making tag. But this thing was up for auction. I guess it was like what, 10,000 gold? It was cheaper than standard tier 9 premiums by like 3,000 gold or something, but it's okay. It's not the greatest of tier 9 heavy tanks. The STRV-K and the Chieftain Proto will do the stuff a little bit better while hull down because the M1 cupola. But otherwise, it's okay. It's like this is also like a 5. I would say the TS6 is also like a 5. It just surprises people with the alpha punch of the gun. But the best tier 9 premium for American is possibly the upcoming M103M. So the same playstyle as the regular M103, except you have a 105 now, rapid firing 105. But we'll have to see what the actual collaboration is. So this is possibly the best tier 9 premium out of all heavy tanks at tier 9. But nah, we'll have to see. So 5 for now, but it's okay. It's, I mean, it's okay. It's a AE Phase 1 on American diet, practically. Oh, it's big, it's bulbous, with elements of Yo tanks. It's okay. 5 out of 10. Well, there you go, folks. The TS6. So we're filling back up the reserve of tier 9 vehicles. Already used up the 752, the 590, the UDES thingy-majig, 0303 or whatever the hell that thing is called, I forgot. We're filling back up all the tier 9 reserves or tier 9 premium, holding in the bank so we can actually use them for loot box later on. But this one is okay. It's fine of a vehicle. You should not get that bad of a performance compared to like GSOR the tank or Patton the tank. So it does have the special feature of packing the alpha punch, but otherwise it's a massive target for artillery. It's a massive target that's kind of blind, so it's okay. It's like a 5. I'm being generous, 5 out of 10. But as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.